President Trump is extremely clear about who he claims he is targeting with his immigration crackdowns. Listen.
We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people.
Are you still prioritizing going after the worst of the worst, or are you now arresting anyone who's here?
The worst of the worst, always first.
Just to follow up, Libby, on who the president wants to see housed in Alcatraz, the worst of the worst criminals.
We will continue to go after the worst of the worst across the country, like President Trump has told us to do.
But the reality is very different. Just last week, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said federal agents separating children from their parents during a raid on a Chicago apartment building, even zip-tying their hands and holding them in vans for hours. Joining us now, Jasmine Garsd, immigration correspondent for NPR and host of the Last Cup podcast. Jasmine, I can't think of any time I've read a report of any kind of raid in America that had the kind of military assets that were used in Chicago than maybe David Koresh and the Branch Davidians. Mm-hmm. What do you make of this Chicago raid and how children were collateral damage in it?
I mean, it's this escalation of violence that's really unprecedented. We keep hearing this rhetoric, the worst of the worst, but over and over again, when you look at the statistics, the ICE statistics about who is in detention, at least 70% of the people in detention have no criminal record. So this worst of the worst rhetoric has never been true. And it's this violence that, it started off during the campaign season as very performative, but what's happening now is real. It's children, and it's also, there's been deaths as a result of this.
The minors the administration is offering minors, I think, $2,500 to self-deport. I believe unaccompanied minors, I should say, $2,500 to self-deport. Do they really think that money is going to solve this problem, that people are just going to, especially unaccompanied minors, are just going to somehow rock up to an ICE facility, ask for money and buy a ticket and leave?
Well, self-deportation is a major pillar of this administration's policy because the act of deportation is expensive, it's difficult. So one of the things they're really relying on is making life miserable enough and scary enough, and it is scary right now for immigrants in this country, that people will self-deport. And I've been speaking to people who have self-deported or who will self-deport or who have been in detention for so long, and they don't see an end in sight to truly horrific conditions that they are asking for deportation. I think bigger picture, though, this represents a change in American identity, right? This represents a change of the America that is this beacon of welcome for children as young as 14, right, who are escaping something. Imagine what it takes for a 14-year-old to come unaccompanied. The message here is this is no longer what we are.
I will say, too, I, in an earlier part of my career, spent a lot of time interviewing unaccompanied minors who came up through the Texas-Mexico border. $2,500 is not enough money to pay off some of the debts. They're being chased down by certain coyotes, which is a term basically for these criminal smugglers. On top of that, many of them are fleeing gang violence that $2,500 cannot free them from. And so there are just so many parts of this where the administration presents a plan or an alleged solution that when you even understand just a tiny bit of what the conditions and the facts and the realities are that drove people to our border, render all of this completely
such a good point.
Yeah.
Does the idea of giving minors who are underage $2,500 to self-deport, do they have access to legal counsel? Are we under obligations with, say, the Flores Act, which in 1997 says American law, we are supposed to take care of children who end up in our country? Yeah. Isn't this in violation of that? And the dubious morality and ethics of expecting someone to make that choice at that age?
Well, the Flores Act has been being chipped away since the Biden administration. But as for the ethics, there was a division of DHS, of Homeland Security, that was an oversight committee that would look into things like this. And that has been dismantled. So who is watching over human rights abuses cases? Who is watching over? What did these kids flee from?
Yeah.
You know, what does a 14 or 15-year-old that comes from another country alone to the U.S., why is that kid coming here?
Do we have a sense of how many unaccompanied minors are in the U.S.? I mean, we're still in some ways dealing with Trump administration's zero tolerance policy ripping families apart. I believe there are 1,300 children who have not been reunited with their families. And that's just a staggering number. I mean, it may not seem a lot, but when you think of 1,300 people that have been taken away from their families that remain ununited with their families, do we have a sense of just how many unaccompanied minors are in the U.S. here?
We do, and as you said, like with these unaccompanied minors, we're still looking for the parents of some children who were separated at the border.
Right.
We still are looking for that, and so it's so interesting because with the unaccompanied minors. And with the detention of minors, right? This was such a flashpoint in the last Trump administration. This was really kind of like a PR nightmare for them. This is what really angered people. But there's a brazenness with this now that indicates the direction in which we're heading.
Do they just think the American public isn't going to have the outcry that happened in 2018 with the child separation policy? Is that what they're banking on? Just that, you know,
this time around, cruelty is the point. Last time they were testing it. This time it's the animating ideology, it seems.
Yeah, I think there's also a sense of like an overwhelming amount. I mean, definitely as an immigration reporter, every day it's just like tennis balls being thrown at me with like different policy changes. You know, it's TPS, it's unaccompanied minors, it's DACA. It's always something different, and so it's almost like a sense of flooding the system. You know, and it's hard to know which cruelty to hold on to. But I also agree that there is like a point of cruelty, right? When you name a prison system Alligator Alcatraz, a detention system, there's kind of a point you're making there.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
I think to a certain extent, too, people have been inured to all of this. People were shocked by some of the images, seeing kids like on the floor with bright lights, literally in cages. I think people felt like they had never seen anything like that before in many cases, even though it wasn't necessarily all brand new in 2017 and 2018. But at this point, as you said, there's been this sort of flooding of the zone. And so when you see, I mean, just open your phone now, you probably have 10 new videos of some form of ICE brutalization happening in Chicago right now. And so people just kind of, they're not protesting, they're not reacting. That doesn't mean that they're okay and they're consenting across the country. But I do think the administration has won in terms of making people just become accustomed to and more comfortable with this in the background of everyday life.
So many different battles going on simultaneously in the country. Jasmine Garsd, thank you so much. Really appreciate your reporting on this.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.